When I started in the ATM business, I thought maintenance was just about keeping machines running. I was dead wrong. And that mistake cost me thousands in my first year alone. There were nights I was driving across town at 10 p.m. to fix a simple issue that could have been prevented with knowledge that now I take for granted. Today I maintain hundreds of ATMs with minimum headaches and maximum uptime. The maintenance secrets I'm about to share aren't taught in any manual. They're lessons that I learned the hard way so you don't have to. These are the confessions of an ATM owner who wishes somebody had told him those secrets from day one. So starting out an ATM business, I quickly fell into a bunch of traps in the service business. So some of these service issues can be avoided if you just lay down the proper framework. All right, so bill jams. When you get in the ATM business, you're gonna get your money either from armored car or you're gonna get your money from the bank. If you get your money and you have the ability to look at your money, what you need to do is you need to go through your money, make sure none of the bills are ripped. Also, they have dog ears, which means that bills, they fold on the corners sometimes. Undo those dog ears to make sure your bills is good as possible. Now, you will quickly discover that, you know what, there are different times of the year the bill quality is not as good. Usually the Fed, that's the Federal Reserve, will release money, brand new bills, somewhere between September and December. They'll flood the market with brand new bills. They take older bills off the street. But sometimes the money quality is not to the best of its ability. That's why one of the times we tell you guys, please use 20s because the quality of 20 is a lot better than the quality of 10s. So you want to examine your bills as closely as possible and make sure there isn't any rips because a ripped bill will cause a service call. Now you also had communication issues. How many times have I went to a location where the ATM was offline? There are ways to prevent that and know how to keep your ATM up and running at a maximum level. And last but not least, a lot of the things that we do is dispenser related issues. So bill quality plays into effect, but there's things that you can look for that I've looked for. A lot of times I've seen bill after bill in the reject of the dispenser. Why is this happening? Well, I quickly realized what are the things I needed to do to prevent excessive bills in the reject column. And also, when I first started out, I didn't even know there was a reject bin. So we were putting money in the ATM and I was being shorted. I'm like, where's all the money? I go, well, haha, it's in the reject bin. I didn't know it starting out. And that sounds silly. And that's a confession of an ATM operator. But I opened up the reject and I almost found $2,000 in the reject bin one time. I'm like, oh, here's all the money. We weren't reconciling back then either. So these are little things. I'm sharing these stories that happened to me so you guys can benefit from these stories. This is another one that is the ATMs are a breeding ground for mice. So any little hole that you have in the ATM, please plug it up. Gorilla tape will work good. If you lose the little plugs that go in, please put Gorilla tape. Mice don't like the taste of that. They won't chew through it. You can minimize it. The last thing you want is a mouse to come into your ATM and get caught up in the dispensers and then cause your ATM to go out of service. Also, mice like to eat money. The last thing you want to do is have a mouse in there making a little nest, eating your money and making a nest in your ATM. Not a good sign to see hundreds of dollars, sometimes thousands, eaten by a mouse. So we have three principles. We have number one, the bill maintenance principle. Number two, the communication principle. And number three, the reject dispenser principle. So, bill maintenance. When you get your money from the bank, one of the things you need to do is you're going to need to go through all your money. You don't have to go through it, but I've found that it really cuts down any service calls is go through the bills, just a quick scan to make sure that the bills are not ripped or don't have dog ears or are folded. So those kind of things will set your ATM offline and then it'll cause a service call. If you follow these principles with the bills, also you want to do is you want to maybe take it, some guys do it every 1,000, some guys do it every 2,000. They go head to head and tail to tail every $1,000 or every 2,000. That'll help with bill separation to allow the dispenser to pick the bills. If you don't do this and you keep all the bills the same direction, especially with new money, it'll cause a jam. But if you separate it from time to time in a different way, head to head and tail to tail, every 1,000 or every 2,000, it'll help out with your bills. Communication. What I would do is hook up the status monitoring field. I would enable that so it calls the processor every 6 to 8 hours and lets them know, hey, the ATM is online. A lot of times what you do is you set your ATM up, you don't put the status monitoring field on, and then your ATM doesn't call in for 2, 3, 4 days. You're thinking, hey, the ATM's online, nobody's using it. Maybe that's why it's not communicating because nobody's using it. If you do the status monitoring field, you always know the ATM is communicating. So that way you won't have to go out on a service call If you know that the ATM, it's supposed to communicate every 6 hours, it's not communicating, so now I have an issue, I will either call the location, ask them to reboot it. If I have a rebooter on there, I will reboot it. Or next time I'm close to the location, I might be, a lot of times I was right in the same city or right across town or sometimes right across the street, and I didn't realize that the ATM was offline. And then I got home and maybe that night I got a call, hey, the ATM isn't working. And I was like, I was right across the street. I could have fixed this. So if you have your communication, you can put that into your route when you're in the area and you can see, or you can always call them, ask them to replug it and plug it back in. And number 3, our dispenser principle. One of the things we do is I track the rejects. I look at that and I can see, okay, there's been multiple rejects. Maybe my dispenser needs to be rebuilt, or I need to adjust the rollers, or I need to clean the eyes on the dispenser. These are all general maintenance. When I was first starting the game, once I got to 5, I had a spare dispenser. Now, did I keep a spare dispenser on hand? Sometimes I did, but sometimes what I just had is a spare ATM, and then I could take that dispenser, put it into another ATM, take the other dispenser and get that service, therefore minimizing my downtime when things happen. A lot of people don't do this. We do what we call preventative maintenance. Preventative maintenance means less service calls for me on the street, less headaches at the wrong time. I want to spend as much time as I can with my family, and sometimes ATM calls will come in at night, and I could have prevented it all by doing preventative maintenance. The ATM business is a very easy business and not very time consuming if you set it up the right way. Go through your bills to take out bad ones. Look at your reject bin to see if there's multiple rejects constantly over and over and over again in your reject bin. This is a sure sign that your dispenser is starting to malfunction. And 3, don't forget to set up your communication on status monitoring field. Enable that so your ATM communicates even if it's not being used. It's still communicating with the processor as a heartbeat to let them know that it's all in working condition. People aren't taking money out. So if you're thinking about starting your own profitable ATM business, I want to invite you to our checklist entitled ATM Business Passive Income Checklist, the 5 things you need to know to start your profitable ATM business so you can have a clear roadmap towards ATM business success. You can earn between $250 and $1,500 in passive income every single month. If this sounds exciting to you, click the link down below and start your ATM journey today. Again, this is Phil for the ATM Mastermind group page where we buy your freedom back one transaction at a time. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you at the next ATM Mastermind video. Thank you very much.